without further ado, I bring in, I can't wait to tell him something that we're working on too. He's going to love this. He's going to absolutely love this. Let's bring in my boy, Philly.500. I got a cigar company that is going to make sticks with the Sills logo on it. And I'm telling you, I know I owe you a Jerome Brown hat. I'm going to bundle it up for you, put some cigars, and after every win, we're going to light one up. It's going to have the Sileo logo on it. Are you ready?
I love it.
Ready to roll?
Yeah, I love it. That's awesome.
30 days, somebody's putting my name on a stick. How do you like that?
That's awesome, man. You've arrived when your name goes on a cigar. You know what I mean?
Somebody asked me, Sills, do you want to do hats, T-shirts? I go, I don't want to do that shit, man. Everyone does it. Somebody goes, what about a stick, a cigar? I go, high quality, I know I can't get a Cuban, but I'll take a Dominican. I'm good with that,
Yeah.
So we're going to drop a little Dominican with big Sills. And I was like, yeah, I'm ready to rock and roll. I think I may even have them. I'll show it to you later. I got a cigar to what it's going to look like. So
I want to put my name on a cannoli.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That would be great. How many people on YouTube have cannolis named after them?
Can you imagine that Philly.500 cannoli?
Yes.
The 500 cannoli.
Extra stuffed.
Extra stuff inside the middle. I love it.
That's it. Yeah.
Sileo cannoli. How about this? Sileo gabagool.
Sileo gabagool. By the pound. I love it.
All right, man. I got some questions here for you. Hey, by the way, there's a method to the madness of this thing here with the Eagles, man, not practicing a lot. Burrow got carted off today. You see that?
I just saw that. Yeah.
You know what? Ramsey got hurt. I'm so against these hour practices, but now I think they're doing the right thing, man.
But do you think that the lack of hitting and stuff causes these guys to get hurt more though?
Yes, early on.
Yeah.
That's why you see a lot more today. Lower body injuries, lower extremities like ankles and knees and twists and calves. I think you see those because of the turf and the lack of movement in training camp. And I do, but I'll say this to you, Philly. If I'm going to lose Joe Burrow, I don't want to lose him on the first day of practice walking over to get a cup of water. I'd rather lose him in the Bills game.
No, I know. I mean, they weren't even hitting, right? So that's just a bad break. Hopefully it's not serious, but that's a bad break.
Who is the most intriguing Eagle heading into training camp and into the 2023 season?
Oh, man, that's a really good question because there's so many. I'm going to say Jordan Davis because I think Jordan Davis, if he can be what we drafted him to be, I think he has the ability to take the defense to another level. I also think he could help the linebackers out by taking double teams and stuff like that. So I really think Jordan Davis is very intriguing to me. That's where I would go with that.
Me as Dean.
Dean's, yeah.
Again, you're asking him to do you think that guy's going to put 160 tackles up like TJ Edwards did a year ago?
I don't know. I don't know. 160.
Look at you. What do you mean? There's no straddling here. Do you think that Nakobe Dean is going to give you the production that TJ Edwards gave you with 4 picks and 160 tackles and 100 solo?
If you're gonna put a gun in my head, I'm gonna say yeah. I'm gonna say yeah. But am I sure? No.
That. You're hoping that.
It's hard to know what a guy's gonna do when you've never seen him on the field in a professional game, right? Except for one time. So there is a question mark. But here's my thing with Nakobe Dean. The Eagles, they're very high on him. They've got to think a lot of him to put him in that situation. So I have to hope that he's going to be good to go. But I think it's a legitimate question. I think the linebacking spot, all the linebacker spots pretty much are questionable. We don't know. I mean, I think it's fair.
You're so lucky because that's the only way you can live off that answer is the fact that he hasn't done it. and they have to have.
But I pulled it out, baby.
Hey, and I can't debate that because you're right. You're right. You don't know really what you have right now today on July 27th. You don't know. And for them to do that, I'm going to tell you one more time, Philly. I think the mistake that Howie made in the offseason was not bringing Edwards back at $7 million or $6 million, because to me, he's your quarterback, and you let the quarterback of your defense go.
Right. Well, I mean, we're going to see. I obviously think that part of the reason why Edwards went is because of the Eagles' belief in Nakobe Dean. I really think that, at least going into the season where we are, I think that this team really legitimately thinks they got a better linebacker than they had a year ago, or they wouldn't have done it. I really believe that. That's why I'm pretty comfortable with Nakobe Dean. I think he's going to be better than you think.
Okay. Let me throw this at you here. Eagles do they have enough depth at cornerback?
They got a lot of defensive backs. I'm pretty comfortable with the cornerback situation. The only thing that worries me a little bit is that we go into another training camp and Avonte Maddox is still hurt. He was limited with a big toe injury. So it's like, is this guy going to be able to stay healthy a whole year? Because if he's not, I think there are some questions. I mean, they've got a lot of different defensive backs in there. So I think that they think they'll be okay. But, I mean, I'm a little worried about Avonte Maddox and his health.
Just because you got a lot of apples in the barrel don't mean they're
no, it doesn't mean anything. Yeah, I agree.
So, I mean, again, we're inexperienced at the position. Like I said, I think here's my concern with that. I think Slay's not – I think Slay – here's my prediction. I think Slay is going to continue on what he did in his decline a year ago. I think he's going to have week 8. We're going to find out. May put his hand up, bail out. Do you have somebody you feel good to put in there? See, a year ago, you had depth where you could have slid CJ over the corner if there was any devastating injury, and you could have slid somebody else into that slot safety there. You don't have that affordability and experience in that. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well,
all right, let me throw this at you here.
I got to say, though, Slay, I think a lot of the problems that you saw with Slay last year is how they use him.
So you thought it was more schematically from Gannon?
Well, yeah, because Sills, when they played week 2, they played the Vikings. He shut down Justin Jefferson.
He sure did.
He followed him. But how come in weeks after those games, how come they didn't let him shadow the best player? Corners are very, corners want to go against the best receiver. That's what they feed off of. And I don't think they use Darius Slate the right way.
Okay. Do you really believe that they have a true competition at the punter position? And the reason I bring that up is this. There's only one player on the field, Philly, that if your offense or defense, for whatever reason, you have a couple 3-and-outs offensively, your defense is giving yards up, but you get a stop. There's only one guy in the field that could change field position with one play, and that's a quality punter that could put the other team back inside the 20-yard line. And I don't believe that they have, with these two dudes that they have and these 2 trash cans that they have that in camp, I think that's a problem for these guys here, man. And so, to me, do you believe that there's truly a competition for the punter, or do you think it's Simpos' job?
So what was it, the Garbage Pail of the Year award they're going to get?
Yeah, right. I mean, you know what a garbage pail does? He sits there on the side, you throw garbage and shit into it. He comes out once a day or once a week on Tuesdays to get picked up. He does his job. Then he goes back to the sideline and he throw garbage on him again. That's to me what a punter and a kicker are. They're garbage cans. Okay, they're nothing else. They're not football players. They're garbage cans. And I think the Eagles may have one of the worst garbage cans with holes in it.
I don't know. I don't know enough about Legatron, Zentner guy. I don't know enough about
Legatron.
That's what they call him, right?
I guess.
But I don't like Sippos. I think that legitimately one of the weakest parts of this team is the punting position. And I do think it makes a difference. I think it would be nice if we could pin some teams back. So I think I would upgrade my punter, at least bring in competition.
Okay, I want to ask you this one here now. Will one of the new DTs? I gotta go to my boy Tone's numbers here, and I think you can see them too. Will he be able to produce 11 sacks, 60 tackles, 16 hits on the quarterback? Is there a guy that's on the current roster right now, 10 TFLs, 10 tackles for losses, 16 hits on the quarterback, and 11 sacks, is between Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter? Do you replace those numbers?
I think combined you will. I think it's very hard to.
It's going to take to get those numbers.
Well, I mean, listen, I think it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to have a rookie come in and say, well, you got to produce 11 sacks to, be successful. That's kind of hard. I think he's going to have, I predicted that Jalen Carter will have 9.5 sacks this year. I think he's going to be up there. And I think Jordan Davis is going to have 4 or 5. I think combined, it'll be better than what they had in Hargrave. But I think it's unfair to think that a rookie is going to come in and get 11 sacks. That's crazy.
Here's my issue, Philly, with, okay, you're replacing one guy with 2 guys. Mm-hmm. Your depth level now at D tackle is not deep because you're counting on Milton Williams to be your rotation guy and the kid from the Saints compared to what you had a year ago. So my additional question was going to be, do you think Howie does exactly what he did a year ago by adding another veteran defensive tackle in there?
I mean, I think that's possible. Like if Sue wants to come back or something like that. But I also think that when we talk about production of those 2 guys, I don't think the production of those 2 guys will equal Hargrave. I think the production of both those guys will be better. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, so you think you're going to be like you're looking at maybe 13 sacks between the 2, and maybe 100 tackles between the 2?
Yeah, and I also think that the run game will be better with Jordan Davis out there. To me, Jordan, like I said before, I think Jordan Davis is really the key to this thing. Hargrave was great, but but in the long run, Jalen Carter is going to have higher upside. As for his rookie year, he's a rookie. He can only do so much. But I still think that you look at Milton Williams and you look at the kid Street, I still think they've already got a pretty good rotation. I think they'll be fine. But, yeah, they might add one. That's okay.
Help me out here. Why is Derek Barnett still on this football team? Dude, it's 6 years.
You are going to get no argument from me. I would have been done with him 2-3 years ago. I guess they need somebody to go off sides or get penalties late in games because I don't know. I would let him go and I would sign Yannick Ngakoue before I would keep him around.
I like that kid too, and I think he's probably a little too expensive. Okay. But I want to write this down here for you here. And I want to, again, I'm not going to throw a poisoned opinion here at this here, but I am going to ask you what your take is. Over the last 5 years, the Philadelphia Eagles have got no production out of Derek Barnett, which is 6, obviously. You want to go 6. Okay. First rounder. Mm-hmm. They got no return on investment on Andre Dillard, first rounder. No. They got no return on investment with Jalen Reagor. And it was a complete – I don't want to – hey, that's funny. I never thought of this question, and they moved off of Wentz. Now, how about this? Wentz is a little different, and I'll ask that other question here on him. What's your take on losing all those first-round draft choices and moving off of them?
Well, they all stunk, so you had to move off of them. But I mean,
they're all first-rounders.
Some of the issues. Yeah, but these are some of the issues that I've had with Howie Roseman in the past with drafting. I do think it seems like whatever the problem was with the last draft pick being Reagor, it seems like they've kind of changed the way that they do it. And I think if you look at the last few drafts, I think they've actually done a really good job. So I feel like, yeah, those were bad drafts. Those were bad mistakes, but I don't think they're drafting the same way and approaching it the same way. Because if they were, there's no way they would have ever took Devontae Smith a few years ago. So I think that they have kind of changed their philosophy, and I think that's helping a lot.
So again, I think it's a great point. You think it shifted the personnel department, and it shifted the mindset on how they look at guys. Instead of going after a guy from North Dakota State, they're sticking in the Southeastern Conference.
Right.
And they're going to go with guys who play against great I think you're dead on. By the way, do you believe that Carson Wentz era was a win or a loss? What a Super Bowl.
I think it was.
He is the all-time single-season touchdown and passing yards leader.
Yeah. I think you probably have to say win. You won a Super Bowl. I don't believe that if Carson Wentz doesn't have that year he had in 2017, I don't believe you go to the Super Bowl. I don't believe Nick Foles would have played a whole year. He hadn't in the past. So I think that
I agree.
It's a success.
You know, isn't that crazy? It finished like a train wreck.
It did, yeah.
But the era, how many years did he play in Philly? 6?
Like, something like that, 5, something like that. Yeah, 5, 6.
So he won a division title, and then he helped part of it, a division title, broke records, part of a Super Bowl championship team. He was 11-2 during the Super Bowl run. You don't get home field. How about this? Surely Foles wins the game. I get it. That guy won home field advantage for you, though.
Yeah, right.
So
yeah, no, I mean he set everything up for the Eagles, you know. And I believe that there was I don't believe the Carson Wentz that was 2017 was really ever came back. You know, it's like I think with mentally when Foles won that Super Bowl, it was like I just don't think he recovered from it. I don't.
You think that injury in the Coliseum was the beginning of the end?
Yeah, I do. I think the other one was the one in the playoffs where he gets hit in the back of the head against Seattle. I think that was the finish. That was the knockout punch, you know. But he just never seemed to be the same after that.
Isn't that crazy that you look at how, and because it's polluted about the finish, but the start resulted in him winning you home field advantage. And I think you had to have home field advantage, in my opinion, in 17 to win the Super Bowl.
Right.
And you got it. And they did. And then Foles had that crazy great run like Hostetler did. Mm-hmm. To me, you would have to say that the Carson Wentz era in Philadelphia was a success because it resulted in something no other quarterback during the time of him starting was able to do.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And saying that, I will say this.
And get this, and I feel dirty saying that.
Yeah, yeah. I think this era right now is going to be even better than that.
So how many NFC title games do you see him going to?
I think he's going to win 2 Super Bowls at least when it's all said and done.
You think Jalen Hurts wins 2 Super Bowls?
Yeah, I do. I think this is I said this. I believe we are in the golden era of Philadelphia Eagles football.
You know, my boy Tone would tell you, what you got to win the chip.
Yeah, he's gonna do it. He'll win. I truly believe it. I'm gonna bet some money on it. Don't worry.
All right, let me say this to you. How do you get Nolan Smith on the field?
Boy, you got to find a way. It sounds like. I mean, he's so impressive. You got to find a way to do it. I would like to have him and Hassan Reddick on the field at the same time when given the opportunities. That's going to be up to the defensive coordinator. But I think it sounds like he's just so talented, so quick that you got to find ways to use him. So I really hope that they do that.
Okay, a couple last questions because we were interrupted here. If you're Sean Desai, do you have a problem with Matt Patricia looking over your shoulder? How about this, Philly? You're at work. Your boss hires somebody to make sure you're doing your job. And he doesn't answer to you. He answers to the owner. You wouldn't have a problem with that.
Yeah, that like put that way, yeah, of course. But is that the way it's structured with Patricia? He's looking.
Human nature tells you if you hire a watchdog, what's he in the building for then? Sirianni comes out today and says, "Man, I'll tell you what. You know, a guy that I confide in and a guy that I really has been a really great asset for me has been Matt Patricia. I haven't heard this. Okay." I haven't heard this. Man, I'll tell you, the Sean Desai installments and things he's doing and the new scheme and the new defensive front and how it looks. Holy shit, this guy is going to be more aggressive. I hadn't heard any of that. All I heard was this. Boy, Matt Patricia, man, this guy's really great. I love this guy. Unbelievable. He's been a confidant. You're not right. You got a problem with that. No problem with that, I mean.
No. I mean, put that way, and I really put like zero thought in it. But yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, the way you make it sound, yeah, absolutely. But I don't want.
Well, when you don't think that's in the building, so wait a minute, you can't do that to me here. No. If somebody was over your shoulder looking at what you're doing and say you're not getting it done in the beginning, you're giving up a ton of points and yards. Right. You're not going to feel a little insecure about a guy looking over your shoulder, running back to the coach.
I guess so. If the coach is coming out talking about him and how great, I guess.
Oh, I love him. He's so good. You should see when we make out at night. It's wonderful. I can't believe it. Holy shit! Me and him are eating. We're eating the Philly.500 cannolis and smoking on the Big Seal sticks. Man, this is unbelievable. We're boys. You don't have a problem with that.
Listen. I guess I would, but it could also be, maybe he's blowing him up because he can't stand him. It's like when you go to a bar, you're like back in the day when you were single, and there's two girls, one pretty, one kind of ugly, but you talk and be nice to the ugly one because you want the pretty one to see how good of a person you are. See, and then she gets all jealous, and you work it that way. Maybe that's what he's doing.
Look at this.
I don't know.
He's working it. Last question for you. What young Eagle makes the biggest impact on the football? You had no rookies or young players or first-year starters. Well, AJ, that's first-year starter. I mean young players. Has an impact on this 2023 season. Who is that?
Are you saying specifically rookies or
I'm saying kind of first-year young players. A guy that they're putting in there.
I think I'm going to say Jordan Davis. I think Jordan Davis is primed for a big year. I think he's going to shut a lot of people up. I think Big Sills is going to have to talk about what a great
PR rep now for Jordan Davis.
Man. I am.
You're the Pied Piper for the Jordan
Davis. Me and him
are
on the same diet. What are you going to do?
He's lost a ton of weight, man.
He looks great. I even saw a tricep.
Looks like a model
when he was flexing. Yeah. And listen, his conditioning
looks really good, man. I mean,
he looks good.
Cow.
Big Sills gonna have to be talking about how great Jordan Davis is this year. Get ready. Jordan Davis gonna have a big year.
Let me sneak one more in on you here. Jalen Hurts. Does he finish in the top 3 MVP this year?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Mike Missinelli came on yesterday or the day before, and he said that he's gonna have a step back.
Well, I mean that I guess that's natural. People think that happens when you have such a great year, but I don't look at it like that. I think there was room last year for Jalen Hurts to improve, and I think that this year he's going to in the passing game. I think his running numbers are going to come down some, but I think his passing numbers go up.
Wait a minute, you think the rushing numbers go down with that garbage can running back room and all them trash cans in the running back room?
The running backs are fine.
Hold on, wait a minute. I can't let you out of here on that one because now that I found out that you're the Jordan Davis PR rep, I got to throw this at you here. Wait a minute here.
I love Jordan Davis.
I see this.
Pause.
Let me say this to you here. The guy on the other side, he's more Jerome though, dude.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I agree. But I feel like we know what we're going to get with him.
Here's Swift versus that garbage can Penny. Let me say this to you. Here, look at Swift the last 3 years. By the way, just so you know, don't jump my ass right away because he goes, Sills, this is the only guy I care about. This is the only guy I give a shit about too. The rest of those guys are tomatoes. I would say this to you here. Look, last 3 years, out of 50 games, he played in 40. You missed 10 over 3 years? All right. I mean, 16 starts, and here's who he is. And I'm not talking about production here. He plays about 13 games a year with 5 starts. That's over the last 3 years. That's not awful. Mm-hmm. Here's Penny the last 3 years. Out of 50 games, he's been eligible to play in 18, and he played in 18. He had 11 starts. So over the last 3 years, he's averaged 6 games a year and 3 starts.
What's his average per carry?
What?
What's his average per carry in those games?
Well, you get him for 6 games, probably really high.
Yeah, it's like 6.5 yards. Yeah.
You get him for 6 games. There's 17.
Listen, to me, I'm with Tone. It's about Swift. It's about DeAndre Swift. I think this is all about DeAndre Swift, and I think with DeAndre Swift, you have to remember one thing, and this is a big thing. He played in Detroit. Detroit has a knack for screwing guys up.
I think Detroit's wrong here. I do too. I think I would have kept. He had 1 more year on his deal. I would have kept him, put him with the rookie, moved off of him if you feel you didn't want to pay him in the offseason in 24. I think that's the second move that they've made in the last 5 years or 4 years, moving off of Slay and moving off of this kid. Because I think this kid's a good ball player, man. I do.
I do too. He's just got to stay healthy. I mean, the whole key, and I guess Howie Roseman, what he's probably thinking is, if I bring both these guys in and just one of them stays healthy, we'll probably be okay. And I think that it's most likely that DeAndre Swift is going to stay healthy. He is a factor, because I think if DeAndre Swift is healthy and can play and can start, I think he could put up better numbers or close to what Miles Sanders did.
Jesus. Hey,
except for
you think he can put up Christian McCaffrey numbers?
No, Miles Sanders numbers.
Miles Sanders. Oh, okay.
Miles Sanders.
See, but do you think they really need that, or would you rather have this, Philly, 1,300 yards rushing, 11 touchdowns, or would you rather have this, 850 yards rushing, 550 yards receiving?
Yeah.
Would you? I'd rather have the McCaffrey back.
Yeah, I'd rather have the total yards and the receiving yards. And I think that's what they're going to use him a lot with. I think the one great thing about him is going to give this offense a whole nother element, and that's receiving game out of the backfield. So I think Swift is the guy that we have to focus on. I think he's the guy that's going to end up being the featured back in this offense. They may share the rotation right now, but I think at the end of the day, it comes down to DeAndre Swift, and he's got to stay healthy.
Chocolate chips on those cannolis?
Yeah, of course. Do I look like I'm going to skip the chips?
No. Yeah. That's what somebody says to me. They go, Sills, what kind of sandwich you like? And I go, well, I'll tell you what, it ain't half a sandwich. Do me and Philly.500 look like a half a sandwich kind of guy? Dude, I'm a full-fledged 6-footer, man.
Hell yeah.
Jersey Mike's too, man, because they got better meat. I'm going with the better meat instead of the Subway.
He wants the better meat pause, but yes, I agree.
That's right. And don't be a favor. I'm not eating anything out of them joints. I got Parmesan. No Parmesan chicken sandwiches, man. White guys make those. I'm looking for Italians or somebody. I don't eat white guy meatballs. My wife's mom, just to leave you on this, because I know me and you should be on the Food Network too.
I know, right?
So, my wife's mom, she makes this meatballs and I don't know, spaghetti. And so I go, is that ragu? She's like, I go, okay. So we're making this shit and I'm eating. My wife goes, just like it. And I go, I'm eating this. She goes, what do you think? I go, these are the special meatballs. And I go, yeah. I mean, you probably made these down in Tuscaloosa, Alabama or something, right? Then I gave her my grandma's meatballs right off the boat. And she's like, oh my God, it's like crack cocaine. I go, don't ever eat white guy meatballs. People who work at sub shops that are not Italian or white, and make white guy meatballs, those aren't meatballs, dude. That's like telling me that Tony Romo's is Italian. Tell the folks how they can get on your
just
on your sensational podcast.
Yes, Philly.500. Just type in Philly.500. I'm sure it'll come up. They'll probably have some reaction of me going off on something or not, but it's pretty easy to find me.
There you go. Hey, that's right, Max. Just remember, words to live by Big Sales. Don't ever eat white guy meatballs. Hey, brother, I appreciate it, man.
Thank you, man.
Hey, now that I found out, though, too, man, you're like the new PR rep. And
I'm getting ready for a press release right now. I'm going to go work on it for Jordan Davis.
The Jordan Davis guy, man, is here in the house. That's for
Jordan Davis
sure.
About to go off.
Thank you, Philly. I appreciate it, brother, man.
All
really cool stuff, man. By the way, Philly gave me also the updates on the Elliot Polly Shore Spitzer guy on the Jalen Hurts bullshit. Hey, Philly, thank you, brother.
Thank you, man. Appreciate
it. You got it, man. I appreciate it. All right. Power Hour coming up, number 3. Hit the like button. Keep it here on the National Football Show.